Lapidary equipment time. Lapidary equipment time. Oh yeah, beautiful stuff. Okay, this is my new lapidary machine. So this is one that I built with scrap sheet metal from the scrapyard. The sheet metal was probably $25. And that gave me everything that I needed that you're seeing here in this box. I used oxygen acetylene. I only have access to that. I don't have a MIG or a TIG welder, or even a stick welder. I would definitely use MIG TIG stick. The problem with oxygen acetylene when you're welding sheet is that it bows and flexes. And so right now it looks okay, right? But if you come back here, what I did, I made a brake. So these are just angle irons. If you look up, there's a handful of videos online you can look up as to how to make yourself a brake. This bends the sheet metal for you. So I was able to bend the basic box from the sheet metal, and then I welded the corners. And the oxygen acetylene did great in the corners. However, when I bent the sheet metal, my sheet metal only went up to a certain height, and I should have done this with a much larger chunk. I wasn't even thinking that the oxygen acetylene would warp the sheet metal, but you know, new to welding. I've only been welding for a little while, and the other thing is it's been a very long time since I've welded last. So I actually made a secondary plate to get this up taller because I wanted to have an 8-inch drum used on this lapidary machine instead of just 6-inch. So I made the box, and then I added this piece. So if you are making boxes, just know what I would do over again. I would make the box and make sure this back piece was all one piece. So I'd give myself enough space. I didn't measure it out well enough, so I had to add that piece. And by adding that piece, what happened was, because I only have access to gas welding, this warped significantly. So I tried to keep it from warping. As you can tell, it bows out. So see that? Fun stuff. The other thing is I would have used a different hinge here because this provides a gap here, and water does splash out from this. And all I have to do is just throw a rag over this. So it's no big deal. But just FYI, I definitely would either mount your hinges differently or use a different hinge. I'm sure if I mounted them differently, it would have closed this gap for me. But this is it. So currently I have 4 6-inch, these are 2.5-inch belts, but I only paid for the 6-inch 1.5 drum. 3 of them are expandable drums from Eastwood. These are fantastic, $40 a piece, the cheapest ones in the market, and they actually are very good expandable drums. The only problem is that you will run into is that the inside bushing is not a true 3/4 inch. So this is a 3/4 inch shaft. The shaft was $30. All of these little collars that are tightenable, and I made keys for them. These were $1.50. I have a bushing here, the bushing here, and a bushing at the end. So this bushing was an afterthought. As you can tell, it's only bolted to the bottom half of this tray, this separator. And why is that? So this is an 8x3 inch. I ordered this on Amazon for $80, so it's twice the price of these little 6-inchers, which I figured is well worth it because it's 3 inches and it's 8 inches around. So I would be going through less sandpaper, less quickly. It's awesome. However, even with the collars tightened and everything tightened up, and this thing is not going to move anywhere, it still has a shimmy. So it's not running true. The inside frame of it is definitely not set true. This piece of the frame is true, but then when you put your finger right here, you can tell that this isn't true. You can also tell I've tried to sand just slightly on the side because the sides aren't true either. So it's definitely a bummer. For $80, I would go out and find a different seller of these 8x3" drums. I am definitely not happy with this drum. The Eastwood, I'm in love with, even though the bushings didn't work out. Go get yourself a brass, and I don't know, here's a brass bushing, 3/4 inch, 1 inch on the outside, 3/4 inch on the inside bushing. These things work great. I just went ahead and replaced all the bushings in the Eastwoods when they came in. The brass bushings are a couple, $3-4, so invest in those. They'll never wear out like the nylon ones do. So this is my homemade lapidary machine. It runs great. 1/3 horsepower motor. The motor I got for free from someone, I can't remember. Oh, and this beautiful invention. So this is a 5/8, and this comes apart. And so I bought 4 feet of it. That wasn't cheap. That was $45. But I bought 4 feet, so I can actually use this on this machine and then the remaining amount on a different machine. It was awesome. And I can, you know, take out each link based on what I need. Fantastic. The bushings I got for about $6. You can find these pretty much anywhere. I got a handful of them on Amazon. And here, I'll get the number for you. So it's F204 for these bushings. And these bushings are the ones that are used in my lower tone as well. As far as what do I do for water? So each pan is filled with water. There's a hole with a little drain plug that I pull out when I'm done to empty them. And this guy, these are my air bubbles. So that gets set right in front of a wheel like that. And then I have it running from an air pump for a aquatic tank. This thing's awesome. It has 2 speeds, a lot of air and a lot more air. So that's the plus minus, a lot of air and a lot more air. So that's it. Homemade lapidary machine. This pan, the reason why I separated the pans, this pan is meant for 8-inch. These, I all wanted 6-inch and then 8-inch. The reason why I didn't go with all 8-inch, which I can later if I want to, is just the expense of these stupid 8-inch drums. So to get one diamond coated, the metal ones with the diamond coating on them, those things are $100, $150. And then all of a sudden you've got a $1,300 machine with, you know, multiple drums. And you could have just bought it from a store. So there you go. I think I paid maybe $250 for this entire setup. So each of these drums was $40. This one I had, this is an old Nova 6-inch drum. So here's the secrets about these 6-inch drums. Don't ever throw these away, especially if they have the padding before the belt. So these things actually accept a 6-inch belt. You just put it over the top. And if you have a hard time with slippage, if it slips while it's sanding, which sometimes that happens, go ahead and throw in some caulking or something that will add kind of like, not an adhesive, but a texture to this. Window caulking works really well. Take it out, add a really thin layer, let it dry, snug it back on, and the caulking acts as kind of like it's not hard, so it's soft. And it'll help the belt run true if you add just a really thin layer. The rest of these are the Eastwoods. Yeah, that's about it. This is my homemade lapidary machine. Works great. Already done a handful of stones. I'll have to show them to you here soon. Okay.